Before today's video starts, I'd just like to thank everyone for the amazing support on my recent videos. If you do like the content I create, then please make sure to subscribe as it helps me a ton, and I will always be forever grateful for it. Now please, enjoy the video. Kingdom Hearts is a series of games that I'd like to consider growing up with. No, I didn't play them on their original consoles, but I did play them. It took me about 7 years to get around to it, but boy did I play them. I absolutely love the series and everything to do with it. The story, characters, music, everything. Kingdom Hearts, at its core, is a Final Fantasy crossover with Disney to make this absolutely wild JRPG series that you wouldn't expect to exist in hundreds of years. Today I will be diving deep, or just falling, I guess, into the wonderful world of Kingdom Hearts 1 as I just recently replayed the game's Steam release. I've decided to replay all these games since it's been so long, and I've got a lot to say about this game, but don't worry. I have a newfound appreciation for it. I hope you'll stick around because this might be a long one. Oh, and due to specific spoilers, I can't really relegate a section solely to combat early on, so I've decided to explain more as the game progresses. I will probably end up having a section where I talk more about abilities and things which I guess could fall under the whole combat section. Also, I'm not sure why, but I've always had issues with recording squareenix games on Steam, so for literally the first 2 hours, I accidentally recorded the game like this. Then later I tried to fix it and somehow fucked it up even more. I did end up fixing it and getting it right, but man was I angry that I recorded it like this. Alright, well, let's fix the resolution. The PC port doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, zoomed in so it looks normal. And there we go. Okay, good as new. Let's finally begin the game. The strange voice echoes in my brain all these years later. We got a whole ass music video for this game, and it's such a cool part. The intro to this game is absolutely trippy as hell, but it's really cool. Not sure if it's copyrighted, so I won't be including it as much as I really want to. Yep, I just checked, and it's copyrighted. Man, I love the copyright system. It's incredible. Anyways, we are immediately put into the Station of Awakening as I develop my first speedrun strategy. Spamming the options button never felt so good. This part of the game is incredibly critical to determining how difficult your overall playthrough is going to be. You have the ability to choose which power you want to focus on and which one you want to give up. Because this was my first time playing the game in a long time, I went for defense, which could either be a good or bad thing. I have no idea. I also enjoy magic, so fuck attack. This choice basically just determines your overall beginning stats and the order in which you earn certain abilities. Nothing groundbreaking at all, only just your stats that help you progress easier through the game. Afterwards, the game throws you into combat and gets you accustomed to how the game controls. Lifting barrels, opening chests, opening doors. Pretty self-explanatory. Light. Some more Final Fantasy characters ask us some questions that will also help determine the game's difficulty. I'm afraid of being indecisive. Friends are the most important to me. And yeah, I guess I want to be strong. Sure, this does describe me as a person somewhat. I don't know. You only gave me so many options. The phrase you get afterwards is what determines how fast you level up. Your adventure begins in the dead of night. Your road won't be easy, but a rising sun awaits your journey's end. Sounds like my playthrough is going to have a bit of difficulty. Didn't know I'd be punished so severely in the beginning for answering your questions so honestly. I love the idea of having the game kind of ask you stuff to determine how easy you want the game to be. Very intuitive. It's awesome. Now we get introduced to combat officially. It feels kind of jank in the beginning. You don't have much to work with besides using items and just doing a base attack. I got so much more used to how everything works as I kept playing, but originally it didn't feel nice to fight the camera, but honestly I shouldn't be doing that when I'm locking onto an enemy. Just gotta let the camera do its own thing. Items are pretty awesome. After playing Mario and Luigi Brothership, I learned to actually use my items because what's the point of saving them for a point that will never come? There's no point, so items got an actual use here. If it weren't for that, then I'd probably say items are useless. We're then forced to fight this big guy, and as someone who has at least some dignity, it's all gone after saying I got hit more times during this than I'd like to admit. We wake up on Destiny Island to our friend Kairi giving us that weird PlayStation 2 era stare down. Now that we've gotten into that, let's discuss the amount of zippers on our main man here, Sora. Dude is absolutely swimming in them. Big trend with this series is that everyone gets more belts and zippers as it goes on. Not sure what Nomura's obsession with that is, but it makes the characters look very goofy. But it does have its charm. Everyone's got these big ass clown shoes. Don't know how they walk around expecting people to take them seriously, but whatever. We actually start with this little wooden sword here and are able to battle the other people on the island to get better at the combat. Another really critical piece of information to know here is that when you attack an enemy at the same time they do, you'll earn this thing called a tech point. Not only will you stop them from attacking, but you'll also earn some of that sweet, sweet experience points. It adds some needed depth to the moveset we currently have. You don't have to always button mash. You can time your attacks to earn as much XP as you possibly can. kinda neat. After getting my ass kicked several times, I decided to just continue the story and gather up some supplies we probably could have gotten if we weren't just limited to whatever washed up on the beach. 2 logs, a cloth, and a rope. Kairi is apparently from somewhere far away. Riku does a little foreshadowing.
We'll never know by staying here.
Whoa, we gonna be taking a raft to other worlds? No, that can't be what's happening. A lot of world talk for something that has yet to be shown to us. For all we know, there could just be Destiny Islands. Never mind, we get a sweet shot of Donald Duck walking through Disney Castle in his mage gear. That's a large fucking door. Oh, guess he's not gonna use it. King Mickey is, you know, missing like always. Donald Duck goes and electrocutes a sleeping Goofy, and it cuts back to Sora on his epic island of destiny. Here we do some more bonding with our friend Kairi, and I guess Riku if you want him to count. We'll get to share a Palpu fruit with Kairi if we beat him in a race. Well, okay. I mean, Sora would probably want that, so I'll try my best. I lost. Really badly. His AI was even throwing the race and I still somehow lost. Man, that's bad. This is important, but it doesn't really come up very often. The Palpu fruit is something that 2 people who really like each other share in order to intertwine their destinies with one another. Hope that comes back later. They spent time on it, so it must be a relevant plot piece at some point in this game. Looks like Kairi wants us to go find some more items. In the cave where the strange door is, Sora has a little flashback of both him and Kairi when they were younger. Sora, you fucking suck at carving shit into rocks. Oh, looks like he's carving more into it. He's gotten so much better at doing this. Oh, okay, so he really wants to share the Palpu fruit with her. Oh, that's so sweet. The tender moment is immediately interrupted by the Jawa from Star Wars, who is here to see the weird knobless door in the cave. Apparently, Sora's world has been connected to the darkness. Oh, man. I want someone to take a shot every time they say darkness. Don't actually, you might die if you do that. Please don't. This tall cloaked man is someone from another world, beyond the door in the cave. Then he disappears and we go back to the cheery music like nothing ever happened. For some reason, I couldn't find one fucking mushroom for like an hour. Kairi shows us her little charm she made to show that we'll always be connected to each other no matter how far apart we are. Mickey Mouse disappeared to go help the universe stay together and entrusts both Donald and Goofy with the task of finding someone that holds the key to saving the world. Wonder who that could be. They take their Gummi Ship and head to this place called Traverse Town to meet up with Leon, who definitely isn't a Final Fantasy character. Sora's missing out on dinner, what the fuck? His parents cooked him such an amazing meal, probably turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce. Christmas is coming around, so why would he want to miss something as delicious as ketchup? He notices a storm a-brewing on the island and immediately heads there only to see a ball of fucking darkness appear. Sora finds Riku accepting the darkness right in front of him before disappearing into literal thin air. Instead of Sora being able to go with him, he gets this little weird weapon in his hand known as the Keyblade. Man, these enemies just really like to go into the ground and dodge my attacks. We go back to the cave only to see the door get blown open and Kairi get blasted into actual thin air this time. This guy again? Okay, fine, let's just beat him. I forgot to mention it, but I love the aerial combat in this game. It's a lot better in the ones after this, but it's so satisfying to pull off aerial combos. Almost dying was not on my list of things that I thought was possible to happen here, but we do prevail and get sucked into a black hole that sends us to Traverse Town.
What a dream. Ah!
Pluto wakes us up and dicks off, leaving us to fend for ourselves in this foreign world. Sid from Final Fantasy VII? Love that guy. Well, that guy just got his heart stolen, I guess. Okay, Leon, I see how it is. Fine, I'll beat the shit out of you, belt boy. What do you mean I passed out? I clearly beat the shit out of him. Yuffie? Out of nowhere, Aerith is probably gonna show up or something. We get a quick look at where Riku woke up, as well as Donald and Goofy getting spooked by. Oh my god, I knew it! Aerith! So apparently there are several worlds out there that are now connected to the darkness and its increasing number of Heartless, which is the official name of the enemies we are fighting. We find out that the Keyblade is actually the only way we can kill the Heartless and reconnect the worlds, by sealing these keyholes in each one. I mean, okay. This guy named Ansem was apparently studying them, so we should probably go find the scattered pages of his report. In the 3rd district, Donald and Goofy absolutely squash us and realize we have the key to all their problems. Oh yeah, they also become our partners in battle. Donald and Goofy are really good at dealing lots of damage to enemies, but not when it comes to helping you. The main joke with this game is that Donald won't heal you when you really need it, and will when it doesn't matter, because he's a bitch. Experienced Kingdom Hearts players will realize that you can actually change the way the AI will react to helping you. This made both of them a lot more useful for keeping me alive. You can also give them potions, but please don't. They both waste these on minuscule fights that don't matter. You're better off keeping them for yourself. I can actually say for the first time that my friends were actually integral to keeping me alive, unlike every other playthrough I did. The boss we have to fight here is so ridiculously easy, it's not even funny. You just attack his various body parts until they disappear because I don't have scan yet, and you'll win. I want to level with you guys for a moment. When I was younger, I was so awful at this game somehow that I had to do the impossible and lower the difficulty to easy mode, because I was having way too much trouble with such an easy boss. Not everyone can be great at games, but this was a whole nother level of bad for basically what is considered a partner tutorial boss. I can't believe I did it on my first try. Almost as if that's what's supposed to happen. Leon tells Sora to go with them if he wants to have even the slightest chance at finding his friends. We get a good look at Sora's pearly whites with his shit-eating grin, and we're at a Traverse Town for the next little bit. Time to visit other worlds and look for not only our friends, but King Mickey as well. Meanwhile, we get to see a little meeting between the villains at the round table. Their silhouettes don't hide them very well at all. I clearly know who these people are. They just talk about the facts Sora is either going to be a problem or extremely useful. At least, according to Maleficent. Finally, I can talk about abilities. Okay, so you know how in every other video I talk about the badge system from Paper Mario? Well, this game has AP, or ability points. These basically allow you to expand Sora's moveset and make him do other things. Equipping them though costs AP, so you must choose which ones are more beneficial to you. Wanna throw your Keyblade at enemies? Well, you can if you want. It's your choice to build Sora how you like. I'm gonna say this literally every time, but I absolutely love being able to do this. This stuff is kinda streamlined in a way that makes it easy for you to understand. A lot of the really important abilities will be given to you as you level up, and you can equip them if you want. Other better abilities can be found by doing loads of other things like opening chests and doing trinities. I love having the ability to build my partners and Sora out to be as overpowered as I really want them to be. I mentioned it a few moments ago, but you have trinities, which are these marks that are located throughout the various worlds you come across. They come in different colors and grant you different things. Could be a chest, could be a load of money, who knows, maybe it could even give you a new Keyblade. Sora also now has access to magic spells, which are incredibly broken in this game. The blue gauge above Sora's HP is reserved for his magic spells. When he uses a spell, one of these sections will become empty. In order to refill it, you must either pick up loads of blue orbs, attack an enemy, or just head to a save point to heal everyone. The magic in this game is absolutely broken. Because of the gauge system, Sora is allowed to spam way more magic than you should be able to. But it's better that way. Sora needs to be absolutely broken. Want to heal? You can spam Kiraga if you'd like. It only uses up one slot. Some spells use more slots, but most only use the one. Sora gets the basic spells like Fire, Ice, Arrow, Stop, Gravity, Cure, etc. These will get upgraded as you progress, but sometimes not by normal means. You might have to talk to an NPC 3 times for some reason, or open up a chest, or win a tournament. I think that's enough about the combat. I practically explained everything there is to it. It's very self-explanatory with some hidden depth with the tech points and stuff I mentioned earlier. Also, it turns out that Pongo and Perdita lost all their puppies, so it's up to us to find all 99 of them. I'll be honest, I never was able to find them all. I found most, but I didn't see a point since I wasn't 100% in the game. You do get rewards from them for finding a certain threshold, which is nice, but the only reward that really matters is the torrent page that I'll get to later. Here's the world map where all the worlds we go to are displayed. In order to actually get to these worlds, we use the Gummi Ship and go through the Gummi Ship missions. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Before replaying this, I would have told you that I fucking hated these sections and didn't even want to bother dealing with the Gummi Ship. I'd tell you they're too long and annoying. They take up way too much of the game and don't need to exist. But after learning the ins and outs, I actually really like these. They take some time to get used to, but it's a nice fun break from the action RPG combat you're doing for the majority of the game. You can actually change the way your ship looks and make it better. Better functionality doesn't always mean it'll have a better appearance. Look at this fucking thing. Absolutely terrible design. Because I'm a Final Fantasy fan, I named my ship Sid instead of the Highwind. Later on in the game, you have Sid attach a hyperdrive to it so you can just teleport to the worlds you've already explored, which does save a whole lot of time than just going through the same Gummi missions over and over again. After shooting up a bunch of ships, we get to our first world, Alice in Wonderland. I'll be going over every world in this game as we explore because it does have to do with the plot and isn't just filler to have fun in. A lot of the Disney worlds in this game are basically retellings of their movie counterparts with a lot of changes to fit the story of Kingdom Hearts, or just progress the plot. I haven't watched every Disney movie to exist, so some of the worlds in this game are my very first exposure to that Disney property. I'm not exactly going to call myself out, so I won't be mentioning which ones I've seen and haven't seen unless I'm like, yes, I love this movie, or I fuck with this world. Anyways, Alice in Wonderland is a pretty bizarre world where nothing makes fucking sense to me. That's the point, but I feel like my brain literally turns off when I'm in here. we become either big and small and can go through different passageways. So Alice is in trial because the Queen's heart was trying to be stolen by the Heartless. Get it? Because she's the Queen of Hearts? I'll see myself out. So she wants us to find evidence that Alice is innocent. So that's exactly what we do. Fuck, I guess we're in the messed up recording section now. Say hello to our newest character, FPS Counter. I'm not sure how I messed this up, but for the unimportant stuff, I'm gonna have gameplay I recorded in this world later in the game. As I said earlier, this world confused the hell out of me. Even coming back to it years later, I'm not even sure why. It makes no sense. My brain has developed more, so why does it turn off when the words Alice in Wonderland are uttered? Looking at it from an overall perspective, this world is easy as shit, but for some reason, when I'm in here, it makes me look like a complete dumbass. After finding the evidence we need, the Queen doesn't believe us, so she raises the cage so we can't get to Alice. All the while we beat up a bunch of cards and the little doohickey so the cage can be lowered. Turns out, Alice has been kidnapped while we were fighting and have no idea where she could be. So because I have no idea what I'm doing, I spend half an hour looking around and solving puzzles until I magically come across this world's final boss, which is a gigantic Heartless. I don't even have to do any zoom effects here, the crappy footage does it for me. Awesome. The boss was a bit hard for me for obvious reasons. The moveset was pretty awesome though. He has these little rods that can be lit on fire in order to shoot fireballs at us, which can be easily dodged, but it's a cool attack regardless. He also does a few slam attacks if it's even possible to see. Alright, he goes down and we were able to seal the keyhole in this world. Disconnecting the darkness, except that doesn't happen. Because I played the game already, I can tell you what the Cheshire Cat said. Alice was kidnapped by the Heartless, so at least we know she's no longer on this world. What could her significance be to the overall plot that they'd need her? Olympus Coliseum is just a world with a bunch of tournaments that you compete in as the game progresses.
I gotta spruce this place up for the game.
Before that though, we do the tutorial tournament to get us used to how the world works, and yeah, I guess we fight Cloud. Cool fight, too bad I absolutely I lost, but it still progresses the game, so it doesn't matter. Cerberus is unleashed, and I did the fight flawlessly. You can't see my HP meter, so how would you know I didn't almost die here? Exactly, you wouldn't know.
I do hereby dub the junior heroes.
Yes, we're junior heroes. Cloud was looking for someone, and Hades promised he'd help, which is why he was here trying to kill us.
I tried to exploit the power of darkness.
Using the darkness always comes at a cost, man. You gotta know that. Okay, that's it for Olympus Coliseum. The rest of it is optional. You don't have to do it, but I'd recommend it since you get some cool rewards. I wasn't able to beat the Hades Cup near the end of the game, but I did seal the keyhole, so I can say I did beat the base content in the world. I'm not showing the Gummi Ship mission for the Tarzan world. I almost threw up looking at the footage while editing. Since it's another new world, I'll be showing gameplay from when I returned as well, since it'll be better for making the video more watchable. After beating the tiger up, Tarzan comes in and helps us. He says that both Riku and Kairi are here. Game's almost over. Let's go. He is our introduction to world-specific partners. These are really cool additions, but they only work in one world, so there isn't much of a reason to use them unless forced to, like we are right now. I just casually take all their items and force them to hit the bench. After exploring for a while and meeting up with Donald and Goofy and getting our first look at the world's worst human being. I'm joking. Tarzan decides to take us to his family of gorillas. The only help they provide is telling us to go to the treehouse to stop this asshole from shooting an innocent gorilla. So he has a fight with Jane about his mistake, and leaves because he is someone who is desperate for power and control, but disappears instead. Oh, would you look at that? The video just so happens to be fixed. Now we can continue as if nothing ever happened. After saving gorillas and Jane from the Heartless, we face off against Clayton and then a gigantic chameleon Heartless. Pretty good fight, all things considered. I thought it was really interesting how the main guy was invisible for half the fight. Him being invisible doesn't make him impervious to damage, but it's really cool when he becomes visible and you see this absolutely monstrous creature help control the Heartless. I hate Clayton, but the fight was really good.
It is even funnier the second time.
Yeah, my game crashed after beating the fight, so I got to fight him again and beat him in record time. That's a PB for the books. Anyways, Kerchak actually helps us for once and throws us up to go to Tarzan's home. Tarzan didn't actually mean they were here literally. He meant that they are here in our hearts. If you don't have any heart to give, then you won't be able to see or have any friends to begin with. Clayton gave up his heart and, to another retrospect, the ability to have friends or connect with others, which is why he was able to control the Heartless and sided with the darkness. Also, he was just a villain. Boom. Easy. Roll credits. We seal the keyhole, not crash the game, and move on to the next world. But not before we get another meanwhile. They're just gonna let Sora continue trying to seal keyholes? Okay then. It turns out the princesses have something to do with their overall plan for world domination that we will not know of for the longest time. Guess we better move on. We talk to Leon and Aerith down in Traverse Town, where they provide us some more information about where the Heartless even come from. Heartless come out of the keyholes in each world and spread themselves throughout it. If the world gets shrouded in darkness, then the world disappears, which is what happened at Destiny Islands. Squall, or Leon, gets on his hands and knees and begs Sora to seal up the keyholes as fast as possible. With there being no follow-up to that, we take a gummy piece to Sid, and he's gonna install it on our ship so we can travel to more worlds. While he's doing that, we give this guy Merlin a book that had its pages torn out of it. If you remember, I mentioned the torn page reward from the Dalmatians ages ago, and this just so happens to be where they are used. This allows us to access the storybook of the 100 Acre Woods. I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, not so much the horror kind, but the regular Disney-owned kind. The world is just a bunch of little mini-games that don't really affect anything too major. It has a lot of charm to it though, and it's always one of my favorite parts to play through when I play these games. Sealing the keyhole in that world changes the cover of the book to be Sora and Pooh, which is so awesome. I love it. Too bad there isn't much else to say about 100 Acre Woods. Moving on, we also unlock summons, which don't get used a lot, because I'd rather have my partners instead of having one big guy do a massive amount of damage for me. Summons are actually really good, don't sleep on them like I did. I genuinely believe that's it for the combat for good now, which means we can actually continue with the story. Riku shows up out of nowhere, they sort of have a reunion, and he ups and leaves without a trace while the clowns are fighting. We go through the doohickey shop and reveal the keyhole to Traverse Town, but before we can actually seal it, a harder version of a previous boss shows up, so we have to beat the shit out of it. Yeah, not very hard. This guy sometimes turns into a cannon and dies. Ah, so they call her a witch, then name drop Maleficent as the sole reason this town is filled with Heartless. It would have been faster to just say her name. Turns out all these Final Fantasy characters lost their homes to her and had to move to Traverse Town where it was safe. Okay, looks like Maleficent is just manipulating Riku now. That's cool, I guess. Oh, we're also able to go to some more worlds now. Awesome. In Agrabah, it looks like my boy Jafar and Maleficent are looking for Princess Jasmine. They also want to know where the keyhole is to take over the world and protect it from Sora, I guess. Apparently they need the 7 Princesses of Heart in order to open the final door. What is that final door? Could it be the door to darkness? We'll have to find out. Agrabah itself is a very vertical-centric area. Lots of PlayStation 2 platforming. Not that it's a bad thing. We save Aladdin from a pit of quicksand and try to go and save Jasmine from being kidnapped. Well, it doesn't go quite as well as we hoped, and not only does she still get stolen, but Jafar takes the magic lamp. I talk about it more, but nothing happens in the next part. We go and give the entrance to the Cave of Wonders an exorcism, and my game crashes. Fun times. Fun times. I'm not gonna make the same joke where it's so good I want to do it a second time again. We just do a stationary fight and head inside the Cave of Wonders. I really love the way this place looks. Tons of little traps everywhere to stop you in your tracks. Boulders trying to fucking crush me. I'm not the hugest fan of the other portion of Agrabah, but the Cave of Wonders is one of my favorite areas in the entire game. Jafar forces the genie to try and crush us while we wail on him. Probably one of the easiest boss fights in the entire game. He actually does nothing for this entire fight. He eventually goes down and gets a second phase where he turns himself into a genie. This is somehow easier than the first one. Just wail on Iago until the fight ends. All of Jafar's attacks kept being blocked by the little torch here except for one time. So I practically did this entire fight without getting hit. Pretty difficult fight if I say so myself. While Aladdin is grieving over the loss of Jasmine, we seal the keyhole. Fuck the magic carpet escape sequence. Controls like actual ass. The genie becomes our next new summon. Good thing I'll be using him, alright. Meanwhile, we learn that Maleficent is using Riku to gather up all the remaining princesses in return for Kairi. That's all of Riku's motivation. The gang then gets swallowed up by a giant whale, and Sora has a little flashback of his time with Riku on Destiny Islands. We wake up inside Monstro. Turns out Pinocchio and Geppetto were also swallowed up. This world is mainly just a little game of Find Pinocchio. We head through the different parts of the inside of the whale. Riku takes Pinocchio to prolong the game. Man, this guy is getting on my nerves. We keep telling him how much we care about him and Kairi, but he just doesn't fucking listen. Well, we actually do decide to team up for once and save Pinocchio from the fucking bowels of the whale. Yep, definitely where I want to be. After we save Pinocchio, not only does Riku just disappear again, but we get to see just what's happened to Kairi. She's aboard some sort of ship where she's a lifeless body. Her heart was taken by the Heartless. We get to see some more manipulation from our good friend Maleficent. She says the door that'll open once all the Princesses of Heart are gathered will surely lead to Kairi. Sure it will. Guess what's up next? That's right, the worst world in the game by far, Atlantica, the world of the Little Mermaid. This world is optional for a reason, but missing out on it would just be terrible for story development. All that work of learning how to fight enemies gets thrown out the window. We now have the body of a mermaid, and it controls like complete ass. I have a lot more fondness for this world after coming back to it, but it is still definitely the worst one in the game. It's also incredibly short, so there isn't much to say. The world design is a bit confusing. I would get lost a lot because everything looks the exact same, which might be one of the world's biggest issues. That and the underwater combat sucks. Just use thunder and you'll get through it fine enough. The boss here is Ursula. Who would have thought? She has multiple fights to make up for how short the world is. One where I have to blow up her cauldron, or not, I can just wail on her instead. And the world boss where she turns absolutely massive and spams attacks at you. It's very easy to get around though. Just get stuck on her neck and attack behind. Pretty easy fight that totally didn't take me 7 tries. My favorite world in the entire game is up next. It's Halloween Town. Yeah, I fuck with this movie. One of the greatest movies ever made, and it works so well in the style they chose for Kingdom Hearts. The story here is all about Jack Skellington trying to use the Heartless to make the Halloween celebration fantastic, but they just aren't working as intended. No matter how much they try, it doesn't work. Even going as far to create a heart to give the Heartless emotion also doesn't work. It just makes them angry. Sally, of course, tries to tell him to stop, but he doesn't listen until afterwards, which I always thought was funny. Those damn bastard kids in their bathtub steals the heart and gives it to good old Mr. Oogie Boogie. So what do? We beat up some children. Eventually though, we do find Oogie Boogie, who eats the heart and tries to control the Heartless to practically no avail. This fight is really cool, but also really easy. The camera also kinda sucks in this room since it locks itself while on the little roulette table. I love the fight regardless though because of my personal bias. After he explodes, he literally turns into his fucking home and grows a bunch of pimples all over his body. Kinda gross, man, but hey, Oogie Boogie was never a looker in the first place. We seal the keyhole in Halloween Town and get a nice little scene between Jack and Sally. Neverland got absolutely robbed in this game. It's the shortest one, taking me only 30 minutes to complete. It takes place completely aboard Captain Hook's ship.
You're stupid!
Riku has begun to completely rely on the darkness in his heart to do his bidding, claiming it's too strong to be swallowed up. He even goes as far to create Sora's Heartless, and then he gets dropped into the hold where they meet Peter Pan. After battling his Heartless a million times, we eventually witness Kairi get taken away once again. I thought the boss fight against Sora's Heartless was actually really cool. It's nothing too groundbreaking, but it's a really cool idea. Sometimes he splits up into copies and tries to attack you. He's not very successful at it, but he tries. Because Wendy isn't needed, they just casually leave her behind while she's unconscious. Mr. Peter here takes her and leaves us behind while we progress the story for a bit. Riku took Kairi to Hollow Bastion where Maleficent is, so that looks like that'll be our next stop. First though, we must take out Captain Hook. Peter Pan blessed us with the ability to fly around, so you can literally just spam aerial combos to do massive damage to him. He's pretty easy. Nothing to really write home about. Leaving one of the flying ships alive makes this fight even easier because he won't even spawn any more Heartless to help him. They don't do anything at all during the fight, so ignoring them is easier than dealing with them. Eventually, Captain Hook goes down and we fly all the way to this massive clock tower where our next keyhole resides. Let's do this again. Meanwhile, Riku is being scolded by Maleficent for relying on the darkness too much, as it could cost him his heart. She says that, then immediately tells him to open himself up to the darkness more and awaken his true powers. Pick a side, will ya? Sora begins to get more anxious about his friends and wonders what the point of it all is. There's still no sign of King Mickey anywhere, so how can Donald and Goofy be so cheerful? Goofy tells Sora to believe in himself, and everything will work out okay if they're together. This awakens something in him, and he sees a memory from when Kairi was a child in her other home. We get a bit of an exposition dump. Basically, Kairi's grandma, I think, tells her about the story of the battle for light. Everyone used to live in peace until they started fighting over who held all the light for themselves. Darkness formed inside of people's hearts and it tore the worlds apart. Then we're told to believe in the light and the darkness can never take us away. All Kairi has to do is believe in herself and the light will guide her out of the darkness. Whoa, is that the Super Smash Bros. Stage? Upon reaching Hollow Bastion, we encounter Riku, who is harassing Beast because he has nothing better to do than almost kill someone who's just trying to protect the woman he loves. Riku forces Sora to give up the Keyblade and gives him a wooden sword instead.
Here, go play hero with this.
Donald reminds Goofy about their mission, so they ditch Sora for the Keyblade. At this point, Sora had almost lost all hope, but because of the power of friendship, he was able to persevere through Hollow Bastion.
Me too. I'm not gonna give up now. I came here to find someone very important to me.
He was able to use his connections to make it all the way to the castle gates, where, Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking enemies. I kinda wish I could fucking do more here instead of just relying on my partner to do everything, but It's fine, it's only for a limited amount of time, it doesn't really matter all that much. After opening up the castle and heading inside, we get a nice, heartwarming speech about how Sora has made tons of friends along the way. Donald and Goofy go as far as to even protect Sora from being attacked by Riku. He realizes he doesn't need a weapon to defend himself, because although his body may be weak, his heart is strong and would never give in to darkness.
It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
I love this little speech here. It's very cheesy to be like, I use the power of friendship to do my bidding. But because of all the people he's met throughout his journey, he has been able to forge bonds with every single person. It makes sense for Sora to be able to persevere by using something cheesy like that. No matter the distance from one another, everyone's hearts are always one with each other. Sora's heart grew 3 times larger after his speech, allowing him to retake control of the Keyblade. The Riku fight here is pretty easy. He does some lunge attacks, but goes down extremely quickly. We then get a short cutscene of Maleficent trying to open up the keyhole by using the Princesses of Hearts. It fades to black, so what the fuck? Why show us that? The Jawa returns, telling Riku to plunge himself even further into the darkness, and it'll give him more of the power he wants. Alright, time to do some really interesting and not boring at all lift puzzles to progress through the castle. After 20 minutes of doing this, we get some more story, which is always fun. Seems like the keyhole to everlasting darkness won't open because they don't have Kairi's heart. Some jaw-dropping stuff is about to be revealed right now. Guess what? She's one of the Princesses of Hearts. Riku's got some crazy aura now. Watch out, he might unleash a heat action. Maleficent's boss is easy, but don't let that fool you. She's got multiple phases. Her first phase is easy, as I just said. It kind of feels like an easier Jafar fight. She flies on this rock that moves across the room when it's not broken. That's it. That's the fight. Aura Riku appears again and unlocks her heart's true potential, awakening her to the darkness. Her second phase is this dragon boss, which was really hard for some reason. I'm not sure why. Her attack patterns are seemingly random and don't make any sense at all. It does look cool though. I'm gonna play a bit of her boss fight, as it is literally the epitome of how broken magic can be in this game.
See ya! This should help. Stop! See ya! Force! Force! Stop! See ya! Force! Here! Here! Force! See ya! Force! See ya!
Although Maleficent was controlling the Heartless, she failed to recognize just how much the darkness was eating away at her heart the more she used them. Giving into the darkness eats away at the person no matter who they are. We find ourselves at the door to the keyhole where Sora tries to help out Kairi, who he thinks is just unconscious. Immediately after, Riku tells him about the misfortune regarding Kairi's heart. It turns out that Kairi's heart actually resides within Sora, which is why he was able to have those flashbacks of her memories and hear her calling out to him. In order for them to complete the keyhole, Sora will need to have her heart freed. Oh yeah. The guy who took over Riku's body is this guy named Ansem. We know him from Ansem's report mentioned, what, like 10 hours ago? Just gotta have the little reminder here. If I told you this fight was easy, that's a severe understatement. This fight took me so long for some unknown reason. It's not even hard. Riku Ansem just does a ton of damage for no real reason. I kept dying at the part where he teleports all over the arena, and the cheese I developed for this part was to spam dodge roll in a corner until he stopped, and I could attack him again. After 20 minutes of dying and attempting this fight, Riku Ansem goes down. God, that was painful. Because Sora can't seal the keyhole in Hollow Bastion, he uses Riku's Keyblade to unlock his heart and reawaken Kairi. But the repercussions of his actions is that he disappears himself and begins to fall to the darkness, not knowing where he's going. Sora is Kairi's light. She believed in him, and that allowed her to be guided back from the darkness. Riku's heart holds back Ansem and all the Heartless that were produced from the keyhole being complete, which allowed them to escape. We actually get to play as a Heartless at this point, which is awesome. Sora no longer has a heart, so who are we playing as? After falling into abyss after abyss, we finally reach the castle gates where we catch up to Donald, Goofy, and Kairi in their escape.
Sora?
Kairi hugs the lonely playable Heartless and brings Sora's heart back to the light where it belongs. He began to forget who he was and all the friends he made throughout his journey. He was just a husk of his former self. Kairi kept him in her mind all this time, which allowed her to bring him back to the land of the living, those with feelings. Just like with Sora, Kairi became his guide to bring him back. I think it's really interesting just how much that little memory Sora had mattered to the overall plot here in Hollow Bastion. No matter where or who you are, there will always be a light to help shine you away from giving into the darkness. After reconvening with Squall and the others, we get to have a little heart-to-heart with Kairi before we actually head back to Hollow Bastion to seal the keyhole. Kairi gives Sora a charm that represents how no matter how far apart they are, they'll always be together. They made a promise to see each other again once everything has been settled. Riku also awoke in the darkness looking for Sora and Kairi when a strange voice calls out to him. This person is someone with great knowledge about the darkness. Someone with the other Keyblade that's required to close the door of darkness for good. Riku ended up in that place because his heart won the battle against the darkness, but his physical body lost. Ansem took over. I guess we get a quick affirmation regarding the fact Sora and Kairi are truly connected to Riku's heart. He can feel the bond they share regardless of their distance. Guys, I think friendship and connection are a main theme in this game. I'm not going to go over how cheesy it is again, so I'll say that I don't care if people think it's dumb. I really enjoy this and it makes me happy. Being together with your best friends and family is the best feeling in the entire world. It's hard to really describe it, but this game echoes a warm feeling that not many games are successful at doing. Yes, you're just saving the world, but it feels like a lot more than that because of the fact you're on this massive overarching journey, making friends and realizing just how important those bonds can be to someone. Anyways, let's get back to Hollow Bastion. All the captive princesses were holding back the darkness with their magical powers or something. Inside the area, we get a very easy boss that basically takes most of its damage by being struck when standing on top of him. I'm not sure why they'd have a boss like that, but whatever. Makes it easy enough. Hollow Bastion is the childhood home of some of our favorite characters apparently. They're here to help restore it to its former glory. Apparently once our handsome friend Ansem is defeated, all the worlds will become separated again, as all things should be. No more Heartless, no more Aerith and Leon.
We may never meet again, but we'll never forget each other.
No matter where we are, our hearts will bring us together again.
Guys, we're in the end of the world now. Ain't that cool? The entire rest of the game is basically the ending of a Final Fantasy game. Not many familiar Disney properties in sight. The end of the world is a place made up of the remnants of the worlds that have been swallowed up by the darkness. As we go through this world, we get to learn more about the darkness and what the Heartless actually are. It's too bad it's only through text. It's pretty obvious, but Heartless are ones born without hearts that have been forced to bring destruction to all worlds. All hearts taken reside in this place known as Kingdom Hearts. Alright game, I see what you're doing. Darkness, darkness. So much darkness. Up next is a pretty easy boss against a demon, which ends as quickly as it... I meant it ends as quickly as it starts. We then fight wave after wave of enemies, which I remember giving me such a hard time in both of my other playthroughs, but here it was actually a massive cakewalk. I guess I learned how to play the game or something. It's pretty easy. I just needed to make sure I wasn't being too greedy. After that is the door we entered at the beginning of the game. Yes, I know my heart is the mightiest weapon of all. I've come to that conclusion way before you told me, game. Looks like we're back on Destiny Islands. Ansem loves the darkness so much he wants to kill us for even trying. Since this is a Final Fantasy game, the final boss is like an 8-phase battle. The first few phases he just purely relies on his stand to do most of his damage. He does go down quite easily. I kinda died a few more times than I'd like to admit, but don't you worry, that's not it. We still have the boat phase of this battle, which for some reason ran like ass on my computer. Look at the FPS counter in the top left corner. It is dipping between 30 and 7. Guess my computer can't run a PlayStation 2 game. This phase is pretty simple. Just spam arrow to increase your defense. Heal and hit Ansem in his neck until he dies. After that, we just attack the boat until we can go inside a little pocket dimension and grab Goofy from the darkness. We do the same thing, but this time we get Donald back. I'd like to say the final fight actually begins after you get both your partners back, but his last phase is pretty much the exact same as his first boat phase. Not much is different. Just keep your health and defense up and you'll be fine. I think the worst part about me doing the final boss so easily here is that in my previous playthroughs, I had so much trouble here for no reason. I got so unreasonably angry that I put the controller down. I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is the only game to ever make me that angry. I've never yelled so much before. And then here, I just beat it in 5 minutes. Is this what it's like to grow up and develop your brain more? If so, I want every game to feel like this. Just make me feel really good about coming back when I'm older and destroying a children's game. Anyways, we destroy Ansem, and the game decides to play the ending at a varying frame rate that is not the most fun to watch.
Supreme darkness!
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt. Kingdom Hearts is light.
After blinding Ansem, we try to close the door to no avail. until Riku shows up and gives us the help we need from the other side. Mickey Mouse shows up for the first time in the entire game and helps close the door to darkness. Both Sora and Mickey seal the door from both sides. Everything goes back to normal as it should. Sora gets a few flashbacks with his friends. He then sees Kairi and runs towards her as she's forced back into Destiny Islands, and is separated from Sora once again.
Kairi!
Sora!
Kairi! Remember what you said before? I'm always with you too. I'll come back to you. I promise!
I know you will!
And that was Kingdom Hearts 1. As someone who absolutely hated this game for some reason, coming back to it years later and replaying through it has made me come to the conclusion that this is one of my favorite games ever made. It's so simple, but it makes me incredibly happy, and I'm so glad I've gained a newfound appreciation for this game. Some of the story beats here can be really cheesy, but overall really dumb, but that's okay. This game has done way more for me than a lot of games have. I'm not the biggest Disney fan in the world, but this game has not only been able to introduce me to the world of Final Fantasy, but also a lot of other Disney properties I wasn't the most familiar with, and that makes it feel that much more special to me. Kingdom Hearts is a game franchise that takes pride in doing whatever the hell it wants to. This is by far the simplest the story will ever be, as it just gets more confusing as it continues. It becomes a lot more than just a game about friendship and darkness. But that's for another day. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. As stated a while ago, I bought these games because I wanted to replay through the entire series on PC. I will probably end up making more videos on Kingdom Hearts in the future, as this is a series I absolutely love and adore. If you liked my video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps me tremendously in the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you guys later. Have an amazing rest of your week. Bye bye.
Now what do we do?
We've got to find Riku and King Mickey.
But, where do we start looking for that there door to the light?
Huh? Huh?
Pluto?
Hey, Pluto! Where have you been?
Huh?
Hi!
Gosh, that's the king's seal!
Hey, have you seen King Mickey?
Yep.
Guys, let's go!